It's time for Pot of the Dead.
As long as everybody's good to go and everything, we'll start.
Yep.
So, all right, cool. Hey, welcome to a Gaiden episode number 1. This is Pot of the Dead. This is going to be a different episode, as we told you last week. This is basically our year-end bonus. We're going to talk about some horror stuff, maybe not a lot, but most of this is just kind of like our top fives personally, each person, our top 5 things that we came across or ingested media-wise. So books, movies, television shows, albums, things like that. I am your host, Nicholas, and with me as always are the 2 beautiful ladies, Natasha and Stephanie.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
So, on today's episode, the trio of terror talks about shit they like.
Yes. And it's all vastly different. I am positive.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very excited for this.
I know. Yeah, we are definitely different people, so we are all going to have insane different tastes. So this will be fun. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if anything matches. Like if we have seen or listened or read anything anyone else has.
I know Steph and I have talked a little bit in the past where there was like, if you're not going to talk about this one thing, I will, kind of thing. So we could just kind of broaden the spectrum a little bit more, because I think
there was only one.
There was only one item.
One, and I was like, this is more of a you thing than a me thing. So I was like, why don't you do it, and then I'll find something else. And one of my items on my list, because we're doing 5 items today each, so this way we're not talking everybody's heads off for too long. But yeah, one of my 5 items was something I loved, but it was kind of like I threw in last minute because I was like, this is good, but I don't know anything else that I would take its place. So I think that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be interesting. So
yeah,
without further ado, we're going to start with our 5s. And for my number 5 of the year is my return to love of the genre of hip hop. And with that, I'm giving so already I'm going to break the rules because it's supposed to be
sentences in.
I
know, right? But so that is the thing. But in that is 3 albums. I didn't want to talk about album after album after album after album, so I just kind of gathered it together. So basically, my return of love for hip hop and stuff is mainly because A$AP Rock put a new album out this year called Integrated Tech Solutions. And
it's awesome.
Yes, it's very good. It's not for everybody and stuff, but the dude knows how to put together beats, put together really interesting, like intricate rhymes and stuff like that. And I've been a fan of his for, good Lord, probably like 15 years. So he just put out a new solo endeavor album. I highly suggest you guys check it out. Also this year, JPEG Mafia and Danny Brown put out an album together called Scarin' the Hose, and it's fucking it's fucking great. And Tasha and I actually ended up What's that?
No.
I said he should have been there, Steph.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Tasha and I went and saw Danny Brown. JPEG Mafia was supposed to perform, but he missed his flight, but we ended up seeing him up in Detroit, and it was fucking cool. So that was rad. It's really blown out production and everything. JPEG Mafia did all the production on it. It's super cool. I've always loved Danny Brown since I think his album Old. So that was super awesome. And then lastly, in this trifecta of me loving hip hop again, Czarface, CZAR, Czarface put an album out called Zartificial Intelligence.
That's a cool name.
And this is actually Czarface is also known as Inspecta Deck from the Wu-Tang Clan. So he is one of the founding members of the Wu-Tang Clan. Like back in 2013, he started doing this project with like 2 other guys that do all the beats and everything. And over the course of 10 years, they have put out 12 albums and 3 EPs. Damn. And wow. I was pretty late to the party on this, but it's like old school hip hop, like just nice little like break beat kind of, you know, boom bap kind of beats and stuff. And then obviously, you know, you got Inspect the Deck from the Wu-Tang Clan spitting hot fire on top of it. So it's good stuff. But yeah, my number 5 is the return of my love of hip hop. It's been a bit, so that's my number 5.
Yes, I have been the person that gets to sit in the car with Nick while he gets to return to his love of hip hop for this year. So it's been quite the journey.
Very nice. And I genuinely like A$AP Rock. There's some of that like I have on my like liked songs now on Spotify.
Nice.
So Danny Brown, not so much. Not so much. It was fun.
Yes.
I'll give you that. It was a lot of fun coming from like a girl who loves like mid 2000s pop punk. So
yeah,
that's my sweet spot.
Yeah,
that's
we saw Danny Brown in like an old factory district in Detroit, like this, like literally like the bombed out area of Detroit. Yeah. It was dope.
It was sketchy, but awesome all at the same time. Would recommend.
Getting out of that place, not awesome. That was an hour of gridlock.
That's almost as bad as our Jelly Roll concert.
Yeah, that was nuts too. That was
it was
crazy
just
trying to get in.
People policing people. Oh, man.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm taking a hard left and not talking about hip hop. I just finished a book, so I was trying to think of stuff from the whole year, but a lot of my most favorite things happened to be within like this past few months. So I literally just finished a book called The Lies We Told by Camilla Way. My friend gifted it to me after a little conversation we had. So it's a really good suspense thriller book if you're into that style. And it also follows 2 separate timelines from differing years. So it's like set in the 70s for one storyline, and then it's set in, I think, 2017 in the second storyline.
Okay.
And it's a lot of, I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's a lot of deception. It's a lot of whodunit. The way it's written is beautiful because it's a cliffhanger at the end of each chapter. So then you want to keep going back because it jumps. Each chapter is one storyline, and then you go to the other person and you go back and you go to the other. So it's never like linear, which makes it really captivating to continue to read. Okay. So if you're into thrillers, if you're into kind of like the horror mystery books, I highly recommend Camilla Way's The Lies We Told.
So have you read anything from her before this? Was this your first? Okay, that's cool.
This is my first one. I saw it on like a TikTok once before of like books to check out within like my genre. And I had just forgotten about it. And then my friend had did the book of the month for quite a while and just gifted me. She was like, well, you said you like thrillers, so here you go. And I have like 5 or I think maybe 7 books to pick from. And the first one was a knockout. It takes me a bit to get into books a lot of times. And it'll take me, a month or 2 to finish one. Okay. This one I read in like 4 days. So it's a very quick read. It's just beautifully written. And I really, really liked it.
That's good. That's awesome.
Hell yeah.
I love when I find new authors that I like or new books or interesting things. So that's awesome. Okay. I guess it's my number 5. Yep. We're all just like, this is like whiplash going from one person to the next here because I am not picking anything in like specific order, not based on my favorites. I'm just kind of just throwing it out there based on how it ended up on my list in general. The first thing that came to mind, then the second, then the third. So we're going to talk about the Barbie movie because that was my favorite movie of this year. So I remember when they announced they were coming out with this movie. For those who don't know and live under a fucking rock and don't know what the Barbie movie is, sorry. But Greta Gerwig came out with this movie today. And if you were a girl that grew up loving Barbies, this movie was perfect for you. But it also has a lot of like women empowerment and all this other, a lot of beautiful storyline overall. Patriarchal themes, and it's just absolutely amazing. I saw it 3 times in the theater this year, and we have 4 daughters. And so all four of them saw it. Me and Sydney saw it twice together. So we have definitely seen this movie a lot. It's amazing. As soon as it came out, our daughter Noelle bought it herself. She's like, I went to the store, she bought it. She was like, I can't not have this movie. And I was like, okay. So it's got stars Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie. I never know how to pronounce her last name. And I absolutely love both of them as actors. And so when, like I said, I think Nick actually brought this up to me. He was like, did you know they're going to have a Barbie movie? And I was a kid who grew up playing with Barbies. I absolutely love them. I'm an only child. So that was very much like a personal thing for me, and they were my friends at the time when I was a kid. So the movie I was very nervous to go see because I was like, this is probably going to be nah, and it ended up literally probably being my favorite movie this year. So just because of the themes and everything it covers, and it's both funny and serious in equal measure, and I really loved that. So it was also extremely well made, and it also knocked the crap out of the box office. So I was very grateful for that, and I was actually, it was the same time that Oppenheimer came out, so they were talking about like the Barbieheimer thing. They were competing against each other, and Oppenheimer was also a great movie. Very dark.
We saw both those together, like in the same
weekend, or within a week. Yeah, both great movies. But I would say that Barbie movie is my favorite movie, and that's one of my top 5 things to talk about this year.
There you go. Yeah, Barbie was actually pretty dope. I went into it expecting it to be just like a cash grab, and they really went with like the meta on, like, just really like outside the box, like very self-aware, and that was really cool. Like, I definitely it is a movie made for women by women and stuff like that, but I think any guy that goes and sees it and has a problem with it needs to get the stick firmly out of their ass. So
yes, I agree. And I think if a movie can make me sob the 3 times I saw it in the theater each time, regardless of me knowing it's happening, like I know what's going to happen next, there's something about that. Like it, it's not that I don't cry during movies, but to watch it consistently and then just have an emotional reaction each time. Yeah.
I mean, I cried at the end of Terminator 2 when I'm not even lying. When I was a child, I cried to that when he goes into the molten metal and he puts the thumb up. I remember weeping. So I probably did too. I fully understand the oppressed woman in America.
Because of that. And there is something about that there's something to be said, like Nick said, about a movie for women by women. This one, like, I've never felt so seen or like affirmed with a lot of their jokes that they made. They're things that like a guy might not understand, or it's just like commonplace for us to joke about, but it's like a shitty situation or whatever. But I'm right there with you, Steph. That's a great one.
Am I the only one though that does think that Ken stole the show in it? Like,
I think so.
Ryan Gosling.
Ryan Gosling's Ken. He did a great job in it, but I think he does a great job playing the joke of the patriarchy in the movie, and so that's what makes it so great.
So over the top. I just can't wait to grow up and be him and have my own Casa Dojo house.
I think he's getting his own EP.
Oh, nice.
I'm almost positive he's released a Christmas song. Ryan Gosling as Ken.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to see if they did that, because that's amazing.
This will end up in the rotation of Christmas jams.
Yeah,
HBO has a whole section right now of Barbie and Barbie adjacent things. I don't know if you've seen that.
I just saw it, and it just came out within the last couple days, right?
Yeah. It has like Greta Gerwig's inspiration, movies like it. Then there's like a Ken section. It's an entire spot for Barbie everything.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see that. Yeah, yesterday I was looking at some stuff online, and they had a mat that was like Mojo Dojo Casa House. You are Knuff. And it was like for your front door. And I was like, I think I might actually buy that.
Happy birthday, Nick.
Yes.
Don't be putting that over my D&D mat that's on the front of the house that you swore would never be there.
I did. And it's been there for like 2 years.
Yes.
Okay, honey, you're next.
All right. My number 4 is, it's a movie. Hey, we're on brand. We're on brand here. And it is a movie that was like tailor made for me. So far as the director I love, the writer I love, and the composer I love. So I'm talking about the 2023 movie, The Killer. It just came out on Netflix not too long ago. It's directed by David Fincher, the man who directed Seven, Fight Club, shit like that, which, I mean, I love Seven, and Fight Club's really good too, but Jesus Christ, Seven. It's written by Andrew Kevin Walker, who wrote the screenplay for Seven. So it's like them again. And then if it wasn't enough of my bag, Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails did the soundtrack. So it was literally just like, hey, Nick, you fucking want to watch something? And then like, yeah, and it's like, it's got Michael Fassbender in it. I'm like, sure, that's my bag. And it's fucking great. It's about an assassin and shit goes sideways and it's fucking great. It's like 2 hours maybe. Really kind of a slow start for some. I know it was slow for Steph and everything at the very beginning, but for me, because it's like a really long monologue and everything. But if like it really sets up the character and all that, and once you get past that monologue, it is fucking go. Like the rest of the movie is just getting from point A to point B.
Don't you feel it's kind of like an art movie though, because the way like it has a specific stylistic approach to it than normal action movies do?
Well, yeah, it's straight up David Fincher through and through. Okay. So yeah, so like Alien 3, 7, like it definitely looks and has this feel of Seven and shit like that, where it's just like this kind of grimy, gritty, like lots of like over like almost yellow lighting and a lot of stuff and everything. But yeah, if you like David Fincher and stuff like that, and like I said, the guy who wrote the film, I don't have his name in front of me right now because my phone fucking locked. What's his name? I just had it. Andrew Kevin Walker. He also wrote 8mm. He wrote fucking Sleepy Hollow. So yeah, the dude, like he's
a range.
Yeah, but if you haven't seen it and you're looking for something it's thriller, like suspense, I always have a hard time saying thriller because
it doesn't feel that way to me.
Not for the movie, just in general, because I always feel that the word thriller is like the word horror is a bad word. So we'll say thriller. Like they said that about like The Sixth Sense, and The Sixth Sense is a fucking horror film. I'm sorry, it's a ghost movie and all that. I'm not
and
going
that's
down
what
that road
I consider
today.
A thriller. I consider like that style of horror movie a thriller.
Yeah, but it's still a horror film, just like not to go down this rabbit hole, because I am going to do an entire Gaiden episode about horror is a bad word, the rise of the thrillers in the 90s, because fucking Silence of the Lambs is a fucking horror film. It's like, nope,
yes.
it's a thriller. And it's like, is it a thriller? Seven is a horror film. Is it a thriller because it's from the viewpoint of a cop or a detective, and that's what makes it a thriller? It's like, fuck that.
Or it's a crime drama.
Yeah. So no, but it's about an assassin and all this stuff. It's not a horror film. It is definitely just a suspense.
Yeah, film. It's from his perspective through the whole movie too, which was interesting.
Yeah. And
I mean, this movie wasn't for me, but it definitely is something I think a lot of people would really enjoy if they like that stylistic approach, because it is really well made.
Mm-hmm. And Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross shine in their composition for the movie.
You actually hear it, because half the movies we watch, you can't hear the music. This movie, you can hear it all the time, and that really does make for a good
tension and stuff like that.
Yeah, it does. It does a really good job.
But yeah, that's 2023's The Killer. It's on Netflix. Go check it out, especially during the holiday season and stuff like that. Like, you're going to be listening to this episode, new year, new you. Go watch this new movie.
From last year.
Shut up.
Yeah.
No one asked you, woman. Go watch Barbie. All
right, Tasha, what do you got for number 2 or 4 or whatever number we're doing?
The next one.
The next one, yeah.
The next one. So you mentioned Barbie. I'm going to mention Oppenheimer, because that movie was phenomenal. I can't remember a movie in recent time where I've been interested and like captivated through the entire thing. Mm-hmm. And this is a 3-hour movie. Granted, we watched it in 2 sittings for that because it was so long. I couldn't do it.
Oh, we did.
We watched it at home. But when you mentioned like the scoring and the soundtrack, I think that they did a beautiful job with having the sound and like building that tension, building that anxiety that he's feeling, that everyone's feeling with a lot of the music. I can think of one spot specifically that resonated with me, and it was mainly because of the music that was playing in the background. And it was when he took off his uniform when he was at Los Altos. They told him like to change his clothes. You're a scientist. You're not in the military. Yeah. And he changed into his jacket and his hat. And just that, with the music playing in the background, like gave me chills. Like that scene alone just like evoked emotion in me. And it was that movie is one that I could easily watch over and over again. It was so well done. Christopher Nolan, I think kind of sometimes gets a bad rap, but I think this movie was amazing. And I hope it just like spans the test of time.
I think he gets a bad rap from like elitists because he did like the Batman trilogy and stuff like that. But like he did Inception. But like at the same time,
I love that movie.
Yeah, at the same time, those movies are not bad movies. Like Inception might be pretentious in like its like scope and everything. It's like, I don't know exactly what happened kind of ending or whatever. But like those movies are dope as fuck. Like the Batman movies, like are they the best movies ever? No, but are they the best Batman movies ever? Yes.
Yeah.
What more do you want? Like back the fuck up. Christopher Nolan does some really good shit. I haven't seen all of his stuff, but like he started with Memento. He didn't do The Martian. He did something else.
I don't think so.
Interstellar, the one with Matthew.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, I think he did that. I didn't watch that, but
that's very good.
Yeah.
That one was scary in a weird, the universe is gigantic kind of way. It's very unsettling.
I've heard it's a lot like The Time Machine, where it's that whole idea of like literally traveling so far in the future where you're at the end of time kind of stuff going on in it. It's not that I haven't wanted to watch it, I just haven't. So
I don't know if I've seen that or not. Yeah.
Oppenheimer was good. And
it was really good.
It takes a lot for me to sit down for a 3-hour movie that I haven't seen before. So that basically is just Lord of the Rings. But yeah, like that movie was dope as fuck. And it's sad that you didn't see it in theaters because that fucking atomic bomb testing scene was fucking nuts.
That's when Drew said that. He was like, I wish we would have seen this in theaters.
It was fucking nice.
It was good.
I wish I would have seen it in IMAX.
Oh, man. Or like the 4D where you feel it. Mm-hmm. We have a 4D theater near us where the seats, like the sound's in the seats.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I really like that movie. It was very emotional. So like it's one of those movies that you have to be okay with feeling the ick because you feel a lot of the ick in that movie because of everything that happened. But the only thing I had an argument with that is that there was just so many doctors' names I could not, scientists' names. It was hard to keep track of them.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to obviously stay with what really happened. And so they were just telling us all the people that were involved. But apart from that, it was a beautiful movie, really well made. And I would agree with you on that. That was very, very good.
It was awesomely cast too. Like fucking Robert Downey Jr. in that movie was such a bastard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it took me a bit to realize that was him.
Yeah. It was really good.
He really transforms that. While we're on a Christopher Nolan tangent, I'm going to add Tenet to the mix of amazing movies that he's also made that I'll just add to my little sub recommendation.
I haven't seen that yet, so okay.
It's really good. It's another like time bendy Inception style movie. So.
I think we talked about it, but we just never ended up watching it because that's newer too.
A couple years, a couple years out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen the cover of it, but that's about it. I didn't actually know that was Christopher Nolan, so.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, Steph, what do you got for your pseudo number 4?
This is probably not a good place to put my number 4 in, but I'm just going based off my list. So you guys are gonna have to bear with me here.
Oh God.
I think you already know what I'm going to talk about.
I'm bracing for impact.
Okay, good. So we're going to talk about monster romance books. And then
God.
Yes.
we're going to talk about the thing that Nick always gets to listen to me talk about, especially today because I was reading one last night. So I have always loved unique like fantasy, monster romance type books, but Amazon, for whatever reason, was just very like anti that, or they just weren't popular and I could hardly ever find them. So occasionally I'd find one that was like about tentacles or something and I would read it and I loved it. And I would read like shifters and, you know, those are normal, and vampires. And I love all the things that are weird and different. So this year, by the grace that it be, monster romances have fucking exploded. And it has brought me so much fucking joy to read. Yes, sure. So I'm going to tell you about a couple of them. I'm not going to come out and be like, yes, these are the greatest literary treasures ever made. They're not. They are smutty and they are inappropriate and they are off the charts ridiculous, but they're fucking amazing. So I'm going to name off a few of them. I brought up my Goodreads here so I can talk about the books I actually read this year that were part of this, because I've read some monsters before this, but this has been the year of new authors that are in the genre. And there's some interesting ones. So I'll give some brief overviews of some of them. So I read the first big one that I read this year off of a recommendation from one of my own readers was called Morning Glory Milking Farm.
Oh God, not this one.
It's very popular on Amazon. And it's basically about a woman who works at a Minotaur milking farm where they milk the Minotaur males for their semen to then use that to make male like human Viagra, because they live all in the same world. So it's like a instead of like just culturally, it's also lots of different animals and creatures that live together. And so that's what this book is about. Yep. So it was something. The writing was not great. God. The writing was not great, but it was just so unique and fun to read. I remember telling Nick about it and he was like, I can't believe you're telling me this. And I'm like, you're welcome. So then I'm not going to go over all of them. I read.
Before you run past that one, there's a sequel to that book as well, is there not?
Yes, there is. But I DNF'd that one because you didn't even get to the romance until like 80% in. So I'm not doing that. I did not like it.
DNF, for the listeners that don't know, is did not finish.
Did not finish. Yes, I'm the queen of that.
Thank you.
So then I read some orc books that were about a clan of orcs that married humans. Because that's usually like the gist of these books. It's like you have a monster male, usually, and then a human female, because that's, you know, your readers are human women, so they're trying to make it easy for you to put yourself in this position.
Jesus is not happy.
They're fucking amazing. I'm sorry. Okay, so let me go through. Oh, another one I read, which was an author that I actually got introduced to this year, her name is Layla Faye. Anyway, she wrote a book called Wed to the Lich. I had never read a book about a lich, so that was interesting.
The Lich.
Yep. Then I read her book about an ice giant. That was interesting, considering there's a huge size difference.
Oh my God.
And then this was my favorite one, not as in like the best book I read, but it was just funny. I was telling Nick about this yesterday. So by the same author, there's a book called Thick Beef. And it's a Minotaur book.
I'm not gonna make anybody listen to the rest of this episode. If you leave now, it's fine.
Oh, it's so good though. So I didn't know what I was gonna get while reading this, and they're not very long. So anyway, open this up. It's like this, you know, if you sent your mate, whatever. And anyway, I'm not gonna get into all of it, but his spunk is gravy in this book, and I laughed so hard, and it was amazing. And then the one I'm currently reading is about Jack Frost, and he's a big blue furry guy with horns, and it's really good. So that is what I have been reading this year. So you are welcome. Tasha reads really good, well-written books that are thrillers that everybody should read. And I read smutty ass monster romances, and that is where we are.
I love you, babe. You just over here reading your tentacle gutter smut.
I fucking love I did read a tentacle one this year with that was a gay romance. I love gay romances too.
Gay tentacles.
It was a guy who was a kraken, And it's amazing what you could do with tentacles. Let me just tell you. It was amazing.
I think my office mate may have read that one also.
Oh my God.
You're not alone. I sit across from a bookworm and we are constantly talking about what we like, and what she likes is very on par with you, Steph.
Well, so there you go.
About this stuff.
So you're going to have to tell her to listen to this episode then.
Exactly, yeah.
Yes. Don't worry. One of the things I'm going to recommend today is much tamer. This is the craziest you're going to get from me. So you're welcome.
I appreciate it.
You should have saved it to the end.
I appreciate the crazy.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not going to top that. All right, I'll just make this real short and sweet. My number 3 is The End of the Road from motherfucking John Wick.
Yay!
John Wick Chapter 4 came out this year, and I've watched that movie 4 or 5 times, and it's basically 3 hours of Keanu Reeves getting thrown downstairs, and I'm there for it.
Yep. Getting his ass whooped.
It's so fucking good.
Oh, man.
So
I still need to see that.
Oh my God.
The 4th one or any of them?
The 4th one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the best one out of all.
So I'm not going to spoil it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's so fucking good.
It's insane.
Donnie Yen's in it, and Donnie Yen's fucking character is awesome. Fucking, if you've never seen John Wick, it's basically the stunt coordinator from the Matrix films, basically co-wrote a movie and directed it, and it like got Keanu Reeves in on it, and it's basically an assassin that left the life of being an assassin and is brought back in, and it's just a 4-movie revenge tale. It definitely has a like Ronin like samurai kind of feel to it. It's definitely got a lot of John Woo influence with like the gun fu stuff. Lots of long shots. It's a neo-noir film. Lots of fucking neon lighting and all sorts of great stuff. If you've never seen John Wick, the one thing that people will tell you is like, there's a dog that dies. And yes, it's very sad at the very beginning, right? It does happen.
It does.
But the amount of fucking people the Baba Yaga kills in fucking 4 movies. Oh my God. He's so fucking good. It's so fucking good. And yeah, like the first one's great. The second one's a step down. The third one's even a bigger step down, but not
horribly.
No, in comparison to the first one. So how I look at it is like you got like a 9, an 8, a 7, and then John Wick 4 is like a 10.
Yeah.
Like it is so fucking good. I'm a huge fan of martial arts films and samurai films and shit like that. And for the longest time, The Raid, which I believe is it's not Thai. I'm really bad. It's an Asian film, and I don't want to misspeak on what nationality the people that made it are. But The Raid used to be my favorite fucking like martial arts film, and then John Wick 4 finally took it over. But yeah, Keanu Reeves, John Wick 4, Donnie Yen, you can't go wrong. It's fucking great. Even if you haven't seen any of them,
you can still watch this.
You can still watch this.
You could.
Lawrence Fishburne comes in, it's just like, all right, we're gonna fucking do this shit, and then John Wick does this shit, and that's it.
Yeah.
And Bill Skarsgård's in it. Bill Skarsgård's in it, so he's fucking great. He plays this like
big bad.
Is he French?
I think he's
Frenchman. Is fucking great in that. So you're familiar with him from It, or what's the other fuck? Oh, he was in fucking Barbarian.
He was in Barbarian, yeah.
Yeah, so definitely check it out. I give it my seal of approval. No tentacles in it though. I apologize. No gravy jizz or tentacles. I'm sorry.
No,
just lots of stairs.
But there is a really big badass dog in it. Let's be honest. There's a badass dog. There's some amazing like fight scenes that are also like filmed really beautifully. Like there's a scene in a place that is overhead, and it's oh my God, it's one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen in any movie ever. And I watch a lot of action films, so this movie was amazing. It was really good.
The shotgun scene from overhead is a long scene in the sense of an action scene. And it is easily one of the best fucking action sequences I've ever seen in a movie.
Whoa.
But then you also get to see a dog get revenge and bite a man in the dick and basically kill him. So
Yep.
that's cool.
And he pisses on his head. So then there's like that added go fuck yourself. So that was
Good boy.
great. Yeah.
So,
I agree. That was great.
Yeah, my number 3, John Wick 4.
Okay.
John Wick Chapter 4.
So if you want to be a part of our club, you can find us at facebook.com/pod of the dead or else on Instagram at pod_of_the_dead or on TikTok at pod of the dead. If you want to email us any questions, any complaints, or movie recommendations, you can email us at podofthedead666@gmail.com.
Yes. Okay. Tasha, what do we got?
My next one is the entirety of Ted Lasso.
Oh, nice.
I know
yeah.
neither of you've seen it.
No.
It's
and
on
you have
Apple
to.
Plus, right?
Yeah, it's
That's the-
only on Apple.
That's like literally the only streaming service we don't fucking have.
Legitimately true. We actually talked about getting it though. So
Remember
we'll see.
when we got, sorry, not to step on your thing,
You're
but
good.
remember when we got streaming services to get away from the high fucking bill of, we're paying fucking like that same price as
Yeah.
cable
We
now.
are.
Yeah, because I'm also having all the streaming services plus YouTube TV
Yeah.
for normal TV. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
go on. Ted
Anyway,
Lasso.
so Drew watched it like at the beginning of it, and I didn't know much about it, and I thought it was just a comedy. So I just kind of went into it thinking it was going to be this like good-hearted like comedy, no big deal. Like just watch it and it like goes away. But there are so many incredible life lessons and storylines and like morals to the story throughout all of this. It tugs at your heartstrings, and I cried a lot during it, more than I ever thought I would, because the character development is so good. I found myself wanting to continue to watch it to see like what the characters were up to, not just following the storyline, but like, oh, what's Rebecca gonna get into, or like what's gonna happen with Keely. Like the characters were so like they felt like they were my friends.
Aw.
That's sad.
It's an amazing show, and there are such anyway.
The TV people are my friends.
They're my friends, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
But like, so the woman who plays Rebecca was on like Good Morning America the other day or something like that, and I can only see her as that character now. So it was like, oh, she's on the news.
Oh, my friend's on the news.
Aw.
Don't worry.
So
Don't worry.
is
I
it-
feel that
so-
way about Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, that's
There you
true.
go, yeah.
We do. We were watching Die Hard the one day and we're like, oh, this is why Jake Peralta loves this movie. And I was like, we're fucking losers. I
You
said that.
were like
I
that.
did.
I knew
know.
why Jake Peralta loved John McClane.
Yeah. Yeah, it was ridiculous. So what would you call that show, Tasha? Like if you had to put a genre on it, like, is it comedy? Is it like, what is it borderline, or what does it encompass, do you say?
I would say maybe like comedy drama.
Okay.
It's definitely heavy on the comedic side, but there are a lot of heavy parts mixed in.
Okay.
It's
Who's the star in it? I can't remember his name. He was in SNL.
Yeah.
Jason Sudeikis.
Jason
Okay.
Sudeikis. I really liked him in SNL and like
Yeah.
most movies that I've seen him in. And it's sports related too, right? Soccer.
Yeah, so
Oh.
he was originally I want to say a college football coach in the States, and then kind of comes to find out like his marriage fell apart, blah, blah, blah. He got offered a job to be the coach of a soccer club in England. So he takes that job, and then it's kind of just what happens while he's being the coach, learning the sport. The team hates him. He has no respect. He's Ted Lasso. So he's this like sweet, wholesome Midwestern guy trying to like be these guys' coach, but they don't like take him seriously because he's so humble and sweet.
Aw.
And then like as it goes on, the characters develop into like a big family, and a lot of the soccer stars have like good character arcs. And I don't want to say too much, but it's over now. But just like seeing like how the relationships kind of ebb and flow, and like where relationships pop up and fall apart, and just kind of like the life of this group of people over the course of, I think, 4 years or so.
Okay.
And since I didn't get into it until later on, I was able to watch the first 3 seasons just back to back to back,
Nice.
which was really nice. Yeah.
That's how I was with Schitt's Creek. I didn't get into it until the last season. So basically, I watched everything, and then the last season was going, and it was like week by week, and I was like, "Oh no, it's gonna end!" You know, like you knew
Yeah.
the writing was on the wall and everything. But yeah, we'll have to see if we. I know that you get like a week or so, like maybe it's a month.
Yeah.
It'd be great if it was a month, and then just kind of burn through it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
it
would
was
like
one
to
that
try.
I watched it with Wyatt too. Like the 3 of us would watch it and Wyatt liked it.
Okay.
So like it resonates kind of with anybody. And then we were able to like pick up life lessons from the show and talk, like they were good talking points for why that Drew and I would like talking about adversity and, you know, stuff like that. Building
Okay.
through. Yeah. So it was really good. It's good for the whole family.
The struggles
Aw.
of being a white Midwest man.
And other stuff.
There's no struggles. God damn it.
That's funny. Yeah, we need to try that because I also want to see that new Godzilla show that's on
Oh,
there.
yeah.
That's got Kurt Russell on it. So
Kurt Russell's in that too? Oh shit.
I think so. Yeah,
Oh fuck. My
I'm
boy.
pretty sure
know.
that's who it is. Yeah,
I didn't know my boy Kurt's in that.
I think he's the main character.
I don't know.
Ah. I'm gonna go see Godzilla tomorrow. So stoked.
I didn't know there was one coming out until I went to the theater last week.
Yeah, it's
and
the
saw
Japanese
what was
one.
the poster? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what I was telling why it was. There's a new Godzilla, but you have to read the entire film. So maybe when it comes
Yeah.
out on
Gotcha.
Blu-ray, they'll have it dubbed so you can watch it because 2 hours of reading for
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, that's not gonna happen.
But that
So-
movie may not have a lot of dialogue in it though because it's
It
a
better
monster
not.
movie.
It better not. It better just be fucking Godzilla.
No
fucking,
story, all monsters.
Yes.
all I know is it's a period piece and it takes place like right after World War II, and I'm so stoked.
Cool.
Yes. All right.
You're up.
Okay. So this isn't going to beat monster romances, but that's okay. So
Nothing will, nothing will, nothing will, nothing will.
nope, never. Okay, so I was trying to think of some TV shows that I watched this year that I thought would be good enough to be able to discuss on here that really resonated enough. And this was surprising to me, and so that's why I'm talking about it. So I fell into the Bridgerton world when it first came out on Netflix, and I know it's a book series. I'm not a historical romance reader. I watch historical period pieces that I really like those, like Outlander and such, but I don't really read them. So when Bridgerton came out, I loved the first season. My daughter Maya got obsessed with it. And then I watched the second season when it came out. I liked it. I did not like it as much as the first season. So when Queen Charlotte, which is about the queen that's in the show, it's her backstory basically, and how her and the king got married. And then so this is like way back when, and it talks about like how she became the queen and stuff. And I really like Bridgerton because she is Black and he is white, and they are trying to basically normalize this. And so you have to deal with the racism card and a lot of other things, like she's not the white girl. And I absolutely loved that about the show because they just normalize race. And when you watch Bridgerton, and then when you talk about this, it talks about all of the struggles that she had, and then what she had to go through for adversity and stuff as the queen. And then on top of that, you meet the king, and they're very young, obviously, and he has to come in and be the king because I think his dad dies or something. I can't remember exactly. So he just has to step up to the plate. And you find out through the show, I don't want to give too much away because I don't want people to not, to already learn it when they watch it, but there's some mental health issues going on. And it surprised me in the sense that I cried a lot in it because I felt a lot of empathy for the characters because they went through so much, especially the king, and they were very young, and it was exceptionally well made. I thought I wasn't going to like it because I loved the Bridgerton, but I thought the backstory was gonna kind of be half-assed. It was my favorite of the three. Like, it was just so beautiful, and it gave you a really good understanding of why Queen Charlotte is the way Queen Charlotte is, because she's kind of a no-nonsense badass in the show. And so you kind of get an understanding and see the softer side of her and her backstory and her in her show herself. And it's just the last episode, I was bawling like a baby. So it was so good. So yeah, I would highly recommend, if you are into historical romances, to check out Bridgerton, and definitely check out Queen Charlotte because that was beautiful. So
Yeah, I know you and Maya have been hot on that shit, like to the point where I think last year we got Maya a Bridgerton Clue game, which we've yet to play. We've yet to play it. I'm surprised. It's been a year since we've played Clue. We'll probably end up playing it like Christmas Eve or some shit.
Yep.
Don't worry. I just give up and let her like fucking do her thing, and I'm just like, is it over here? Is it over there? Did they get killed with a salami sandwich? What the fuck's going on?
Yeah. Okay, honey.
So we talked all gushy, lovey, romancy stuff. I'm going to talk about the year that fucking Ohio showed up hard in the death metal scene.
Oh boy, here we go.
Oh god. If you know me personally, you know I'm a degenerate and I like all things that put you in your mom's basement. I like horror films, I like D&D, and I like death metal. I like other stuff too, obviously, but like when you think of like that fucking greasy kid that lives in the basement, I'm not a greasy person. I take care of myself. But
thankfully.
When
you are in a basement.
Yes.
Yeah, I am in a basement. I am surrounded. Oh, and I fucking love wrestling too. Wrestling, death metal, D&D, fucking comic books. Like I'm that kid. I'm
board
that kid.
games.
Yeah, board games. We got more board games than you can shake a stick at. Fucking Warhammer, all that bullshit. But Ohio has done me proud. Oh, it's done me so proud this year. And I'm not gonna go on forever with this, but I'm gonna.
He wants to.
I do.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. I pocketed this into one section, so I'm gonna give you 3 bands. Check out their albums. They're all fucking dope. If you like old school death metal for the most part, so like I'm talking like late 80s, early 90s, Florida and New York kind of death metal. So like if you like Cannibal Corpse and stuff like that, the three albums, and I'm gonna give you some song titles, and you girls tell me if this is right up your alley.
Sure.
All right.
So from Columbus, this is the most popular one. Okay, these guys have like been knocking it out of the park. They just went on tour with Cattle Decapitation and stuff like that. You girls love that stuff, right? I can see it on the looks of your faces.
Absolutely.
Right.
All right. So from Columbus, we got Sanguis Sugabog, right? And their album is called Homicidal Ecstasy. This album is just down-tuned, just knuckle-dragging, grimy death metal.
Screaming!
Oh, not even screaming, just like that for forever, you know? But we got songs like Face Ripped Off, or a song like Hungry for Your Insides.
Sounds great.
And let's not forget Necrosexual Deviant.
That's a great title, but I guarantee you when you listen to that song, all you hear is a bunch of growling and no words.
No, actually what you hear is like the reason it's so fucking good is it's so groove oriented. So it's just like dun 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 dun, and it just makes you kind of want to like give like a face.
Out.
Yeah, give a face that your mom would slap the shit out of you for. But so we got them from Columbus. Check them out. Then from Cincinnati, Scab Hag put out an album this year.
That's a terrible name.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so bad.
The album's called Wading Through Mephitic Filth.
Okay.
And with such titles as Acronoid. So it's like about a spider eating people. We got another song called Vivisection, which that's live autopsy. And then the fucking song on this album is called Force Fed to a Wood Chipper.
Sure it is.
It's so fucking good. It's so good. But yeah, like just no frills, not technical or anything. Like you got some light solos here and there and stuff, but it's just heavy riffs all day long. So they're
all these bands have like their names where you can't read them because they have the craziest ass font.
Oh, yeah. Sanguis Sugabog, it literally just looks like a turd or a dick, and it's just like a bunch of squiggly lines hanging down.
Are they all like that?
Scab Hag is somewhat, it's kind of messy looking. But then the last band, I believe theirs is pretty easy to read. And theirs, they're from Toledo.
Oh, cool.
They're called Hanging Fortress.
Oh, that's a normal sounding name.
Yeah. And their album they just put out is called Suspended in Torment.
Okay.
And they've got some fucking dope ass songs, Amongst the Worms,
Okay.
Calloused, and then my favorite off of the album is called Strewn Across the Altar. And these guys are fucking just down and dirty, fucking grimy death metal and stuff like that. And like Ohio's just been putting out a lot of stuff. Like my favorite one, they didn't put an album out this year, but my favorite one's another Toledo band called Mutilatred. And oh my fucking god, those guys are so fucking good. One of the guitarists from Mutilatred ended up becoming the second guitarist for Sanguisugabog. So it's all just really good, fucking just meat and potatoes death metal, you know, like wash the paint right off of your car, just fucking just get at it.
Can you spell without looking at it Sanguisugabog?
SANGUIS.
Without looking.
Yeah, you're clearly looking at it right now.
POGG.
We can all see you looking.
Well, the name sounds ridiculous. What it is sanguinate is like to drink blood, like yeah, that's what sanguinate means. And then Bog was like the last name of the original, like the guy that made the band, so they just put it together. And then if you look up like what like the vocalist of the band was like, so what does it actually mean? He's like, it means like leech toilet.
That's nice.
So yeah, there you go. There's Ohio death metal coming in strong. Sanguisugabog, Scab Hag, and Hanging Fortress. Check them out. Spotify, all those places.
If you like screaming and growling, that's for you.
Yeah, mostly just not so much screaming, not a lot of highs, lots of just in there. So yeah, good stuff. So that's
the music to just lull you to sleep.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Say, hey grandma, you want to listen to Black Market Vasectomy by Sanguisugabog?
What a name. Oh my god.
Right.
I think that's what the album starts with.
Jeez.
Okay, okay, Tasha.
So I'm going to take us back to historical.
Okay.
What are you talking about? Ohio made history this year.
I mean, it kind of did. Voting and such. Anyway,
Yeah.
Steph, have you seen Harriet?
Harriet. No, what is that?
It's a biopic about Harriet Tubman.
Ooh, okay.
We came across it on, I want to say Netflix or HBO, but it's her life story.
Oh, okay.
And it's incredible. So Harriet Tubman, one of the biggest prolific names in the Underground Railroad, if you don't know. But it starts from when she was a child, and it goes through her entire life to where she's old and doing all of the amazing work. I don't want to, like, it's one of those things, like, it's the story of Harriet Tubman. There isn't much else to say other than it's a beautifully made, very interesting, really informative, I think everyone should watch it movie.
Okay, and you said it was on which platform?
I'm looking right now.
It is on the internet.
Yes, I want, because I would really like to watch that. I think that would be interesting.
Yeah,
I like
It's on
Stuff.
Netflix.
Okay. Harriet, you said.
Yep, it's just called Harriet. It's from 2019.
Not to be confused with Harriet the Spy, right?
Correct.
Yeah, yes.
It's not a sequel. It's not a prequel. Is it
Nope,
is
it's a
it a requel?
different person.
Oh, okay.
So it shows her like escaping slavery and being on the run and like changing her life up north, and then it just keeps.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
That sounds great.
None of that sounds like a Nickelodeon produced film from the 90s.
Oh my god, honey.
No, you're
Stop
right.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't.
Cool. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Anyway,
You're terrible. Okay, so watch Harriet, add that to the list. Okay. All right. So, is this supposed to be number 2? Is that how we're doing this? Okay. Number 2. Now, I am kind of torn on what I should put as this, because originally I have something written down, and then we were talking about the John Wick stuff, and I was like, maybe I should replace it with this. So I'm kind of torn on what I want to talk about here. I'm going to go with what's on my list, and then I'll use this as like the last part as like a what did we say it was going to be?
Honorable
Like an
mentions.
honorable mention. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to talk about the TV show The Last of Us. So I am new into this world. I know it's a video game series, and I'm a big Pedro Pascal fan. So when I found out that he was going to have the show come out, and it did start releasing in like January of this year. So we're talking earlier this year. And we watched every episode as they came out. So it was definitely an intense show. I know it doesn't follow the storyline exactly like the video games do, but I really, really liked this show. Like, it was very good and very well made. And the relationships that were built in this storyline was beautiful. And I thought the show was just very captivating in the way that they built it, even if it doesn't follow the standard storyline that it's supposed to. I think it does for the most part, but I liked the way that they built the clickers and in the storyline. And it's like a for those who don't know what this is, it's like a post-apocalyptic life where people are living in little small places trying to stay away from essentially is versions of zombies, I guess. They go out into the world, and they're trying to travel to go take this girl who has something special about her to another place. And it's the journey of them. And it just like, it had a kind of, not exactly, but definitely had what's that show? The Walking Dead feel to it, I guess. And I really like the show The Walking Dead, but this just really focuses on mainly two characters' points of view and their relationship. And I loved like it's not really father-daughter, but it's kind of father-daughter. And there is a episode in this and this is the reason why I put it in here, is Nick Offerman has a character in this, and his storyline is just gorgeous in this, and I sobbed and sobbed and sobbed during that episode. So apparently I just determine whether or not if I like stuff is either if it makes me cry a lot or if it's really outlandishly crazy. So that's usually one or the other. And in this, it was more along the lines of just very touching and just extremely well made. And again, who doesn't love Pedro Pascal? So So The Last of Us.
It was really good. Like, your comparison to Walking Dead, like, I watched the first season of The Walking Dead and I was like, I'm good, because it dealt with too many relationships and stuff like that. It does, yeah. And like your mention of like, it's a more focused thing with like, just it kind of focuses for the most part on what are their names, Ellie and
Joel
and Ellie. It focuses on them. And it made me think, when you were mentioning that, it's the same reason I like House of Dragon over
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones is because Game of Thrones just keeps pulling you in all these directions, and there's so many storylines that I do not give a shit about, so I lose traction on it. But House of Dragon, it was like literally for the most part just following like a couple people all the way through it, and I was just like, cool, the focus is here, there we go. But yeah, like, if you like The Walking Dead but you want something a little tighter, definitely, like, fucking Last of Us was a banger. It was one of the few television series that I actually watched this year.
Yeah, we had been watching a lot of TV series, and nothing really came out great this year other than the few I'm mentioning, in my personal opinion. But I've been watching Hard Knocks.
Oh yeah, me too. It's good.
Well, yeah, Steph's been watching it with me too.
Oh, cool. I played both of the Last of Us games and the offshoot downloadable content. That's my favorite game. So I was super stoked when I found out that the movie was coming, or the show was coming, especially when they did the teaser trailer with the clickers, because that sound is so like triggering for like anxiety as a game player. I remember playing that game in the living room up close to the TV, palms sweating, trying to navigate some of the same places that they were navigating. So while you said, it doesn't follow the storyline to a T, which I don't think it should, because there's a lot in the game that you don't need in the show. The primary part of the game is traveling. You don't need all of that travel time in the show, but there were quite a few scenarios in the show that were in the game. So those parts were really cool, where you were seeing Joel and Ellie live through those scenarios as a third person, while after already playing it in like first person, like being in that scene. So that was a really cool component of that show.
Good. Yeah.
But
Do you think it lives up to the hype of the video games? The show does.
I don't think so. It's very good, but to me, it's the same as like a movie never being as good as the book.
It's the book. Okay.
Well, yeah,
right. So I played it first, so I already knew what was going to happen, and I was in it.
Yeah, it
not
was
just
your experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So as a show, it definitely holds up.
And I never played it. It was one of those things that like I don't think I've played a Naughty Dog game since Crash Bandicoot. So I didn't play Last of Us. I didn't play Uncharted or anything like that. I don't play video games as much as I used to and everything. I'm just waiting on the damn price of Armored Core 6 to come down so I can get my ass beat by robots. But yeah, like knowing that the game was like very like highly like spoke about and everything, and then Pedro Pascal in it and everything. The girl that plays Ellie in it is from Game of Thrones and all this stuff.
Oh.
I was like, okay, yeah, I'll check this out. And it's HBO. I mean, basically, if you don't like a show from HBO, it's because you don't like the subject matter, I think, is mostly what it is. But like,
they make really good shows.
Yeah, everything that like has interested me from them, I've liked, except, and not that I don't like Game of Thrones. It was just too much. Like it
is a lot, and I watched the whole thing. It is a lot.
It was like 3 seasons in by the time I even bothered trying. But like everything else that I've tried from that, like, was Minx from HBO?
I think so. And then, well, we watched it on there first, so it may not be them.
Side thing, if you haven't seen Minx, watch Minx. It's about basically the invention of Playgirl magazine. So like the first like smutty magazine where dudes showed dick, and it's fucking great.
It's amazing.
It's so good.
As the guy from Nick, who in The New Girl, and he's like the main character, one of the main characters in it.
Yeah, he's like the publicist.
And there's so much dong in this show. Oh my god!
So you know it gets my ring seal of approval. It's gotta have butts, dicks, or tits. Something. Come on.
It is so good. But yeah, we couldn't put that in for this year because we watched it last year. But they do have a second season we haven't watched yet, so that'll be something we'll add to our list. But yeah, HBO has some pretty good movies, or not movies, TV shows, because like True Blood's from there, and
this isn't news. Like everybody knows that. But good God, like They did a good job with The Last of Us.
Yeah, they did. I liked it a lot. Okay, honey.
Okay, for my number one.
Your last.
My number one is I made it my number one specifically because it's on brand, and it's my favorite horror film that came out this year.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So my favorite horror film from the year is the Australian supernatural horror film Talk to Me, which this came out through A24, and it was directed by Danny and Michael Philippou. Okay. I'm not 100% sure how to pronounce their names, but when I saw them, I realized, oh shit, I've watched their YouTube shit forever. I think they might still have it. They've got a YouTube channel called Raka Raka, which, if you're not familiar with that, maybe you've seen some of their videos go around. Like, it's a wildly popular series where like they would have basically like these massive fight scenes between video game characters, or they've got like this whole series of Ronald McDonald is like basically this sociopath serial killer that just storms all these different places and causes all sorts of problems. Okay. They've also dressed up as that Ronald McDonald and went to like wrestling events and wrestled in the hardcore wrestling events, all this stuff. So like,
sure.
Yeah, it's so weird. Cause like this is how I was introduced to the film. Our son Wesley comes downstairs and is like, hey dad, have you seen the trailer for this movie with a hand? And I'm like, no, I haven't. And he's like my like ride or die horror fan. Like he's the one that's like always like he sees it. He's like, we're going to see this. Like we've been going through the Insidious films and stuff like that together.
And he's 10. So like he is hardcore. Yeah.
Yes. He went and saw this with me in the theater.
Yeah. And then I got to hear all about it afterwards.
So I was like, I don't know. Like he couldn't remember the name of it, but he watches a lot of YouTube, like his Fortnite streamers and stuff like that. And it must have been a commercial. So I check it out and everything. I'm like, this actually looks kind of dope. Like, so we go to the theater and it is fucking amazing. It is so good. Without giving anything away really about the film, what it's about is this like plaster hand that these teenagers are using basically as a party game. So you grab it and you say, talk to me, and it causes a ghost that is in the room, a spirit, to embody you. And they basically use it as a party drug. And they know that you can only do it for like 60 seconds, and they got to kick the spirit out or some bad shit happens. And it is a very dark film. It is a very beautifully shot, beautifully acted film. And I can't wait to see what else these guys do. If you haven't seen Talk to Me, I highly suggest it, because it caught me off guard, and without spoiling anything, that ending, oh baby, that ending was awesome. Like, such a good movie. Since it's an Australian film, I'm thinking about making it one of our movies in February for Foreign Film February. It's fucking great. I'm going to give it high reviews.
But according to Wesley, it's very scary.
It is very scary. It is very scary.
Yeah.
Like, I was like pretty fucking creeped out in it.
I know. So like, most of the movies we have watched, in my opinion, are very tame. And so I am down with the tame horror movies. I am not down with the give me nightmare horror movies. So we'll see.
Oh yeah. This film will give you nightmare stuff. I guarantee
I'm sure it will.
Like, it is a fucked up movie, but it's great.
Is it very scary? Like spirit scary?
Yeah.
Like ghosty scary? Okay.
Not ghosty, like afterlife scary. Like, yeah.
Oh, so it's not even like exorcism, like
no.
demons, like afterlife. Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, it's fucked up. It is a scary movie, and they did a great job. Like it's cool. The best way to put it is like it's not shocking to be shocking or anything like that. Like, the opening scene of it is really like, I was like, what the fuck is going on in this film? And then it makes sense as you watch it.
Okay.
But so fucking good. Hopefully,
is it primarily a teenage cast?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
And that's
kind of what kind of like turned me off to it.
It does a really good job.
I expected it. Okay, I expected it to be like kind of like a teen horror movie.
This is like the first. What I've heard is like, this is the rise of Zoomer horror and stuff like that. And if this is what Zoomer horror is going to be, like Gen Z horror, sign me the fuck up, because this is super good.
Cool.
Okay.
So,
yeah. Cool.
And it beat out some good fucking horror films in my book for what I was going to talk about today. Like the new Evil Dead Rise was fucking. It was all right. It was good, but like, this one is the one I wanted to talk about.
Good.
Okay. All right, Tasha, you're number one, maybe not number one, but number one on your list.
This is going to be, this isn't, whatever. Anyway, no preamble. So along with horror movies, I'm a big true crime fan.
Okay.
I watch a lot of true crime docs, listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. And by far, the most interesting story I've watched is on HBO Max, and it's called Love Has Won: The Cult of Mother God.
Oh yes, you have filled us in.
Yeah.
You did.
Yes. This I have always had this fascination with cults in general. The mindset, the leader's mindset, how it happens, how you can get sucked into it. All of that is just so fascinating.
The flavors of Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
It's not Kool-Aid. It was Flavor Aid.
You will not besmirch the name of Kool-Aid any longer.
Couldn't even spring for the name brand. Anyway, that's a Jonestown reference. But the cool part about this one was, so most true crime, or especially like in the realm of cults, you're hearing stories of ex-members or people that no longer believe or that are so detached from it that it was like when they were kids and now they're like old. This one's very current, and it has members that are still in the cult, like as part of the interview, which is so interesting to me because you can still see them like wrapped up in this mindset. So a little backstory. Amy Carlson, I think is her name, kind of as it happens, thought she was God.
I know how it is.
That whole
I get that every day.
You know,
Sure you do, honey.
where she thought she was having premonitions and like spirits were talking to her. This was like in the age of YouTube and Facebook. So she started making a channel, telling stories, prophesizing, bringing in people. They lived off the land. She started, long story short, she fell in with one of these guys. He ended up she became a drunk. The most interesting part of this though is, so she was constantly drinking. She had alcoholism. She was taking a whole slew of different drugs and this stuff called colloidal silver.
Ah.
That Nick is fist pumping too, which is supposed to be, so they always said that any drug can be used as a medicine as long as the intention is to be used as a medicine. So she was like pounding liquor as a form of medicine.
Okay. She
ends up getting very, very sick. So she continues to take this colloidal silver, which is supposed to purify her body.
Yeah, isn't the idea behind colloidal silver is that like silver itself is like it kills bacteria,
antibacterial, something
right?
that.
So some people think it's a cure-all, and they'll just bombard their bodies with silver to the point where their skin turns blue.
Right, because it's seeping, it's in their cells at this point.
What the fuck?
Go to a doctor.
Just you wait. So not only was she taking I don't know, cups of this stuff a day, and you're only supposed to take like a tincture of it. They were manufacturing this stuff, this colloidal silver, selling it online off of just a burner plate in this trailer in the middle of Colorado, like in the wilderness.
Respect.
Yeah.
They're just pumping her with this. She turns blue, like Nick said. She has clearly cirrhosis of the liver. She's very, very sick, very weak, can no longer walk. And her followers all think it's because of this prophecy that a ship's going to come down and take her up. So her body's starting to waste away because Mother God needs to go ascend.
Nice.
But really, she's just dying. It gets to the point where she is telling her followers, I think I've screwed up. I no longer believe in any of this. I am not God. I am not this. You should not be following me. I've really screwed up. And her followers are going, no. You don't need a doctor. You would never want to go to a doctor. You would never want to see your family. You're Mother God. So they essentially let her die in this bed full of Christmas lights and all of these decorations. And it wasn't until days later that one of the members realized, one member who has now been ostracized and kicked out and left and is no longer a part of it.
How dare you?
Called the cops and said, hey, there's this corpse in this house because she died in California, and they drove her body back to Colorado and they let her just be a mummy. Nice. They're waiting for her to ascend. So
she worked her way into a shoot. She was just like,
yeah.
I am God. I'm God. Oh, fuck, guys. I'm not so much God anymore.
Yeah, I'm not God anymore. And that's the most interesting part. I've never heard it kind of transpire like that, where she's having this moment of clarity of none of this is real. Please save me. And her followers are like, nope, we're gonna help you waste away.
You done fucked up now.
This is what's supposed to happen. Yeah.
Oh, I can only imagine just being like, haha, this is all great, blah, blah, blah. It's like, this isn't going so well. And everyone's like, great. It's going to plan. And you're just like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. It's like, it's not up to you, God. And I'm like, wait.
Exactly.
God, who am I supposed to pray to?
Why is this happening? I don't want it to happen.
Just take me to the fucking doctor.
Right. Yeah.
No, God.
she called her mom, and like they were like, no, you don't want to see your Earth family. Like,
Jesus Christ.
it was my jaw was on the floor so many times.
What's
So if
crazy
you're-
is that this is real, and so
Yeah.
that's what's even crazier about this. Like,
Well,
I can't.
It's real, and people still believe.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
the thing that's
people-
crazy. When you were saying that fucking there are people still in this cult, your God is dead. Like, she fucking, like, what
No,
the
she's
But that
not.
was the
She
plan.
Oh,
she
that's
ascended.
right. That's right.
Oh, there's one more part. This is another great part. So I can't remember the name of it, but there's like this astral like council
Mm.
that speaks to a couple of the prophets
I
Oh,
watched
yes.
too many Marvel movies. Okay.
and Mother God. And the
Oh, of
number
course.
one person in this like astral council is Robin Williams.
Oh, yeah. I heard about this. The last podcast on the left has talked about this a bit. Like, there's like all of these different dead celebrities that are on this
Yeah.
council. There's
Yeah.
only one living person, though, that's on it, and it's fucking Donald Trump.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Because, of
It's
course,
like Prince, Michael Jackson.
it's fucking Trump.
It's nuts. And they have this like decoupage, like big collage of
Oh
like
my God.
magazine cutouts of all of these people. It's so DIY.
Oh,
I gotta
my
tell.
God.
If Kylie hasn't
Oh my
seen this yet,
God.
I'm gonna tell her because she
Oh my
loves
God.
this shit.
Babe,
she
I
will
think-
love
It's
this.
on HBO. It's called Love Has Won. It's
I am not watching that, Nick. Don't even say it.
Babe, I think I just became religious.
Oh, okay.
Where that silver at? I'm gonna
And
go
then she
fucking
has-
see God.
yeah. She has this like guy that she ends up marrying, and he's dubbed Father of all creation. He's always shirtless. Like he
Hell
comes
yeah.
into scene to like come sit down, and he's shirtless with like this long hair, and he just like grins and he's like, "Hi, I'm known as the Father of all creation."
Okay.
Fuck, this is what's happening now. Never wears a shirt.
I'm sorry, dude. If
So-
you gotta tell me you're the father of all creation, I couldn't come to that conclusion myself. Next.
Yeah.
So
no.
if you're
but-
into cults, this is a good
Oh,
one.
I'm super
If-
into cults.
Yep. No, I'm not. Nope. I don't mind watching fictional stuff like that, but I don't think I can. I have a hard time watching stuff that's real. I really do. So I can't watch like serial killer stuff or any of that because it just gets to me too much. But my daughter Kylie, she fucking loves this stuff.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I am going to have to.
She wanted to
Tell her.
decorate her kitchen. She just bought her
Yeah.
first house. She wanted to decorate her kitchen and serial killers.
Yep. She has a serial killer blanket
Love
we
it.
got her last year for
Yeah,
Christmas.
that thing's
so
dope as fuck.
yeah, she just fucking loves that stuff. So okay, I am not talking about a cult next. I'm
Right.
not. Sorry,
cults,
guys.
No cults,
cults.
no Ohio
No
death
cults.
metal, no tentacles. What do you
No.
got?
No, okay. So this actually came to me last, and I was like, I don't know why I didn't think of this first, which is strange enough. So I guess you could put yourself in a cult with him because his stuff's awesome. But I'm going to talk about David Goggins. So Nick had to put up with me a long time this year when I was reading his first book, and I'm going to read the second book. I bought it. I haven't read it yet because I'm just going to be sad when it's over. So David Goggins, for those who don't know who he is, he has a book out that I actually heard about because I love self-help books and all of that, and he is like living in the top charts on books forever and ever and ever. He actually basically self-published his first book. With like the help of some other people. It wasn't really by a big publisher. I don't know if they picked it up since then, but he was just like, fuck it, I'm going to do this myself. And it has a 4.8 stars with 92,000 reviews on Amazon right now. And David Goggins, it's called Master Your Mind and Defy the Odds. But the book is actually about 50% or a little bit less than that, talking about like, defying the odds of your life. Don't you say it.
Fucking breaking his shins.
Yes. So I would read a chapter a day or maybe two, and then Nick would come home and we showered together every night, and I would tell him about the chapter every day, and he would just be like, I cannot believe you're reading this book. And I'm like, it's fucking amazing. So David Goggins
It's pretty crazy.
It is crazy. He is a former Navy SEAL. and it's basically his biography essentially, and it talks about him growing up and how he basically slept on the couch in a roller skating rink that his parents owned, and the abuse that he dealt with his family, and then it talks about like where he went from that, joining the military, all of these things, and like setting his mind in a specific way, because he grew up in a situation where he didn't have hardly anything, and there was a lot of messed up things in his life. I don't want to tell everybody because I think everybody should read this book. It's just insane. He's also one of the first guys that's ever he runs a lot of marathons, like, and not regular marathons. We're talking like
through Death Valley.
Yes, through Death Valley, 100 miles, all these things. And it talks about all of his training and his arrogance that he had through some of this. And he had to be a Navy SEAL. He had to go to Navy SEAL training like 2 or 3 times because he kept having so many problems, because like they drown you essentially.
He never gave up.
He never gave up. That's the whole point of this.
He would drown, so he was allowed to do it again.
Yep. So,
like crazy shit like that.
Do you put it in that?
It's insane. Like he got pneumonia.
He persevered. Like see the word perseverance. It's this motherfucker.
Wow.
It's David Goggins, exactly. And it talks about like every step of his life where he went through different things, and at the end of every chapter it talks about what as like tips in order to make your to be to persevere through more things. To one of the things was like write on sticky notes and put them on your mirror of the things that you want to accomplish, and like to keep pounding it into yourself and that you can do it. And it was probably one of the most captivating books I've ever read. I am not a huge biography reader, but it was so well written. He has a clean version, so there's no cussing in it. And then he has a regular version. I just saw that online. So because he is very real in the way that he speaks to you, and he tells a story, and like he one day wakes up, says, hey, I want to do this running shit. And he lives in San Diego because he's a Navy SEAL, and I cannot believe this happened. I'm just like, I cannot believe people do this. He finds out within like 48 hours, they're going to have a 100-mile run. And you have 24 hours to run 100 miles in the same path over and over and over again. This motherfucker's like, it's fine. I'm trained. I'm just going to go do this. He fucking does it. Don't get me wrong. So he goes and he does it. He basically fractures both of his shins, ends up with all kinds of fucked up stuff, shits himself, all kinds of things. Because
I've heard that happens.
Yeah.
But
all of like, and it goes into a lot of detail of that. And then this other one he did in Hawaii. And then this one you have to be like one of the very few runners in the entire world to be a part of, which is in Death Valley. And it's like he runs through all of these runs that he's done and talks about how he had to qualify for them, and how he was fighting with the guy who signs you up for Death Valley. And the guy was like, he's like, well, I ran my 100 miles because you have to run 100 miles within 24 hours in order to qualify. And he was like, he goes, well, how long did you run? He goes, well, I ran 100 miles, but I ran it in, I don't know if it's 24 hours.
I think it was like
36.
21 hours.
It was like 21 hours. He's like, yeah, but the point of running for 24 hours is to run for 24 hours, not just to run the 100 miles. So he's like, you are disqualified. So he had to go do another one because the guy was just not appeased by him. So anyway, the book is phenomenal. And I heard about it because I listen to a lot of self-help podcasts. And then I also follow this guy who does fitness online, who is like trying to help the normal everyday person. And he was like, this is a book that I think everybody should read. And I was like, all right, I'll pick it up. I'm a little leery about it. And then I was just sucked in, and it was just such a good book. It's probably my favorite book I read all year. So I definitely gave it 5 stars, and I already bought the second book, it was just really good. So yeah.
Can you say the name of that again?
The author is David Goggins, and the first book is called...
I just shit my pants and my shins are broke as fuck.
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, this guy, is this incredible. It's called Can't Hurt Me.
Okay. I'm adding it to my list.
It came out in 2018, and then Never Finished is the book he just came out with in 2022 that I just bought. So... Yep, that would be my final one. So that would complete our list for the year.
All right. So that's our top 5. Do you girls have any honorable mentions that you would like to name drop or anything? Nothing to go into real detail, but like a little something, maybe explain what it is, and if not a big deal.
Pasha, you got anything?
The Haunting of Hill House. That was Nick introduced me to that, having only known my interest in shows. It's a TV series it's by Mike Flanagan. So as you know, I'm into that guy. Yeah. Surprise, surprise. But it's a multi-season, I think it's a 2-season series about a family that lives in this big, immaculate, beautiful house. And kind of the horrors of that house. And it talks about like them as kids. So it cuts to them as kids and cuts to them as adults, and kind of what has followed them through their upbringing and things like that. So if you're into kind of spooky Mike Flanagan, I suggest checking it out.
Yeah, and that's not new. This is just your introduction to it this year.
Right. I tried The House of the Fall of Usher. I didn't get the same vibes. So out of his series, the Haunting of Hill House is definitely the best.
Okay.
Cool. Yeah, I think I might try to watch Fall of the House of Usher over my holiday break, but no promises. I have a martial arts marathon that I'm going to be doing that I do every year. I do it every year for Grandma.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
Priorities, man.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have anything?
Yeah, for me, I have. I didn't read as much as you girls did. I do happen upon an audiobook from time to time, stuff like that. But the one that was new to me and was it was told to me years ago by my friend Jordan that I work with. He's a big fan of the band the Mountain Goats. And the Mountain Goats is led by a man named John Darnielle. And I, quote unquote, read, it was audiobook. So I read it. Okay.
Yep.
The book Universal Harvester. And this is the book this year that I started and finished in like 2 days. So not to give anything away, basically what had me hooked was from reading the synopsis, it's like a guy works at a video rental store in like the 90s, and so it's all VHS, and people keep returning tapes because there's these weird snippets in it that like the movie breaks away, and it's like found footage, like someone with a hood over their head and shit like that. So I was like, oh shit, it's gonna be like snuff film kind of stuff, like really fucking dark and twisted. It doesn't go that route, but it goes into like a really weird, like the book itself, really good, quick read. The audiobook's like 5.5 hours. So however you turn that over in
that's not very long.
Yeah, like maybe like 200 plus. I don't know. I'm not a fucking nerd like these other two.
Embrace it.
Yeah. But it kind of it starts in like this real dark, creepy way. And as the book goes on, it kind of ends on like this weirdly optimistic up note about like moving past your past and stuff like that. That's all I'm going to say. Like, so going into it knowing that I probably would like it more on the second, knowing that how it ends, because I went into it expecting it to be like 8mm or something like that, where it's like find the person, kind of all that stuff. But yeah, that was really good. I highly suggest it. If you're looking for something a little different, I've got a couple more of his books on my Audible that I plan on getting to. He's got another book called Wolf in White Van that I'm going to check out soon. But yeah, definitely check out Universal Harvester if you've got a second, or 5.5 hours.
Okay, so my mention, I guess, would be the Continental. That was the thing that came to me when we were talking about John Wick 4. So I was like, the Continental. Was it on Peacock, I think?
I think so,
or
yeah.
Paramount Plus. I always get those two confused. But anyway, I think it is too. So that just came out this year. It's not a very long TV series, but it does talk about I don't know, a couple the guys in the show, like in the movie, and their backstory, and I really liked that.
Yeah, the manager and his concierge.
Yeah. Yep. And it has Mel Gibson in the movie. So, or not the movie, the TV show. And you get some other characters that you kind of learn a little bit more backstory about. So if you really like John Wick, you would probably really want to watch The Continental because it falls right in line with the way John Wick is made. It fits really well with this. And I think we've talked about it a little bit before on here. We were talking about something else on one of our other episodes, but I definitely, that's definitely an honorable mention. It is a great show. I will definitely probably rewatch that because it was that good.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good stuff.
Yeah, it was. Okay.
But wrapping this up for today, I'm going to ask you ladies a couple questions. As this is, we ended our first season watching Krampus and all that. This is our first Gaiden episode. There's going to be more in the future. Some of them you girls will be part of. Some of them you won't. Sometimes it's just going to be for filler to you girls are getting a holiday break from the podcast for a week or two, and we're going to have some side episodes just talking about, I think the next one's going to be like sci-fi and horror. I've already got that lined up and everything. But overall, from season 1, what would you say is your favorite movie that you were introduced to through the podcast for this season? Tasha, I see you nodding your head. So what do you got?
I got The Void.
Nice. What about it? What about it did you like?
I liked the ominous hooded figure, cult-like creatures outside. I knew very little going into it and was kind of like, okay, Lovecraftian monsters. Sure, I'm going to watch it and we'll see how it goes. But I was hooked and wanted to know what was going to happen. And it kept me so interested. And I was very pleased by it. So
yeah. That's fair.
Void.
It was good.
All right,
it was very
Steph, what
good.
do you got?
I'm kind of torn between two of them that I was introduced to. So I really liked The Witch. I thought that was extremely well made, and I liked it a lot. And it was way different than I expected. It is a slow movie. We talked about that when we did our podcast on it, but there was something very unique about it, and I really liked it because when I think about movies, I can still recall that movie. So like, if it's a movie we watch and I can't take a lot from it, then I know that it probably didn't stick as hard as it should have, even though I may have liked it. And then the other movie I would say was definitely Evil Dead 2, because that movie was fucking batshit crazy. And I actually loved that way more than I thought I was going to. Like, I thought I was going to hate it. I'm not going to lie, because I was like, this is 80s. This is going to be fucking horrible. And then I can think about it all the time. It's just so crazy.
The best stuff comes from the 80s. Come on.
Oh my God. Yeah, we're all from the 80s, so of course.
Yeah, good
We're
point.
all ringing endorsements of the 80s. Come on.
But I mean, like, we watched some good ones, don't get me wrong, but some of them we've all seen before. Like, we've all seen the Gremlins, we've all seen Scream, we've seen those. So those were great. But yeah, for me, those two definitely stuck out the most.
All right, well, now that I got those 10 out of 10s, ladies, I need those 1 out of 10s.
That's easy.
What are those?
Yeah.
We all know what one of them is going to be, but like, if you got a couple, you got 3 of them. All right. Let's see.
that we were introduced to, or just movies that we watched this season?
Let's say introduced. And fuck it.
Just say anything.
Shit on whatever you want.
Okay, I got 3.
New year, new bullshit. Here we go.
Okay, what do you got, Tasha?
I got Buffy and The Exorcist.
That's where I'm at. Those are 2 of mine. And then I'm going to throw in, just because it makes Nick mad, The Reanimator.
Get the fuck out of here. That's some bullshit, and you will not disperse this fucking film on this goddamn podcast.
You said it. You said she could.
I know.
I'm the one editing this shit. I cut it out. Nobody heard it.
I would say that was probably okay. No, The Reanimator was definitely not as bad as Buffy or The Exorcist. Not even in the same realm. Those movies, that I'm just saying that just to get under Nick's skin. But that movie wasn't horrible. It was just not my cup of tea. But The Exorcist was fucking horrible, and Buffy was fucking horrible. And I am glad we don't ever have to watch those movies again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've got anything for shit. Like, I mean, Hush kind of pissed me off from time to time. Wait,
Yeah.
no. Wait, hold on. There was one.
The Bird Box.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Oh,
Sorry.
I
Bird
would
Box
say-
fucking pissed me off
Yeah,
to no
I know.
end.
He did not like that movie.
Fuck
Yeah.
that movie. Fuck it.
It was so good though. I love that movie.
Sandra
That
Bullock.
was, yeah,
God damn
that's
it.
definitely a close second for movies that I was introduced to. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. For second of liking.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
Oh.
And yours
Yeah.
is of hating.
Good. Fucking
opposite.
God.
And
But I think we came to the conclusion though that Bird Box is for women. Didn't we come to that conclusion?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I hate
Yeah.
women, so
it resonates
I mean,
differently.
thanks, honey. That's
Yeah,
nice.
well-
we love you too.
well, it's fine, whatever.
Oh, and one last thing that I did not mention, and we just watched it last week. That I know it's past Christmas when you guys are listening to this, but you need to watch Violent Night. Everybody needs to watch Violent Night. We just watched this last week, and I
Wow.
forgot to mention it, but that movie was so good.
It's literally have you watched it, Tasha?
No, Drew did.
I just saw that Drew did. So
Yeah,
it's
I was
basically
sleeping.
Santa is John McClane, and he just fucks up shit.
Oh,
It-
so
and
good.
it's as violent as John Wick. Like it is just balls to the wall. And it's not mall Santa. It's fucking
Really?
Santa.
Santa.
Beefy Santa.
Beefy.
It's real
Used-
Santa.
Real
Beefy.
Santa.
Used
Yeah.
to be a Viking Santa, you find out.
Oh,
it's not
yes.
that it's not that it's a plot point, really. I mean, it's just
No.
kind of like leaned into.
But it adds to it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like all sorts of tattoo Santa, puking off the fucking sleigh
Sleigh.
Santa, like completely jaded Santa. It's really good.
Oh
All
man,
right.
it was so good, so good. I don't know why I didn't put that on my list because that
Yeah.
was
That was
way
top
better
tier.
than I thought. Yep, it was so good.
It's in the yearly rotation.
Yeah, definitely is. It was
But
good.
I am going to give the homework assignment, even though this is a Gaiden episode, and there's probably going to be another one Gaiden episode before our season 2 start.
Okay.
Our homework, though, is going to be John Carpenter's The Thing. So we are going to
Okay.
watch The Thing as our next
Sounds
our
good.
next full
Okay.
episode.
Okay. You've seen
shocker.
that, right, Tasha? Have you seen
No.
the thing? Oh
Okay.
wow. Okay.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
80s horror.
Yep.
Kurt Russell.
I always get the Thing and the Mist mixed up, and it's the Mist that I've seen.
Okay.
Okay.
The Mist Rules too. We'll be watching
very
that
good.
sometime this year. So, but yeah. So for Pod of the Dead, I am Nicholas.
I am Stephanie.
And I am Tasha.
And come back and listen to us, or else.
Pod of the Dead is recorded in front of a live studio audience. All production and editing by Nicholas Brown. Intro and outro music by Seven Doors.